Notnerd Podcast. Episode 200. Picks upon picks upon picks.
Hit it.
Welcome to episode 200 of the Notnerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. We've got picks all over the place today. We've got a little bit of news we've got to cover, and so much more. Here with me, as always, for 199 previous episodes, Dave Baylor.
Yes. Hello. Celebrate. Pop the poppers.
Woohoo!
Make the lights blink.
Cheers. We've got
Cheers.
some special drinks. I stopped by the 7 of the 11 and got you a banana Slurpee, and I have a cold brew coffee with some horrible creamer in it.
We are living large.
Yes.
We spared no expense for the 200th episode. Yes, we've done 199 episodes, and we think to ourselves, where did the time go? That's 199 weeks ago we started this.
Yes. So almost 4 years. It was January of 4 years ago.
That's crazy.
I know. It's been an awesome ride.
I don't even like you that much. I'm spending all this time with you.
I know. Well, I did want to bring up, to start off with, episode 1 of the Not Nerd Podcast. Mm-hmm. We are going to tack this on to the end of the episode so you can hear how far we've come in 199 episodes.
It's embarrassing.
And Dave, I've got a bag of goodies here, but
I saw your bag here. What's going on here?
One thing I found was, I don't know if you remember this little ditty. This is a one sheet that we discussed. Dave, on the name alone, how much time did we spend picking the name Notnerd and looking for domains?
Long time.
Multiple lunches.
I was going to say, over weeks it took us. I don't know how much time,
yes,
but it was over a couple weeks, multiple lunches, many hours. And so the sheet you're showing me was
just all of our kind of brainstorming
ideas.
And our ideas. And we've definitely changed some things. We're going to get into our top picks of all time a little later, but we didn't even start doing picks of the week until episode 43, almost a year in. We talked about a lot of great products and did some lists and that kind of stuff, but we had a lot of ideas. We did say 45 minutes. That was the very first thing. This document is dated September 26, 2014.
Yeah, and this is once we had the logo and everything. This is not the earliest document that we have. So that's very, very cool.
Yes. And our mission statement listed on here, Notnerd is a resource for tech new. That news, maybe?
I mean, maybe a typo.
Yes. Nerdy things for not nerdy people.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's great to look back, and we're going to get more into that grab bag in a minute.
That's a time capsule. That should be framed in our corporate offices someday.
Yes. Another piece of follow-up, we talk about Spotify a lot. We also talk about Siri now with the latest iOS updates, which there's been one every about 3 days lately.
Yes.
Spotify can now work with Siri.
And I downloaded this today because I had read about it, heard about it somewhere, and I knew it was coming, but I was complaining just a couple of days ago about how I have my Alexa Auto. It's hard to say all these names. I have my Alexa Auto in my car so that I can tell it to play something on Spotify because I use an iPhone and it wants to hear stuff on Apple Music to play on Apple Music, and I don't have Apple Music because I like Spotify. So this is a whole convoluted thing that I have set up just so I can tell Spotify to play music. Well, now Siri can do it. And I experimented a little bit, and I'm thinking, I don't know which is better, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to telling Alexa to do it. Just, we do that at home. Everywhere we are, we tell her to play music for us. And so I'm like, So it's a day late and $1 short for me on the whole Siri integration, but it is a great step in the right direction.
Yeah. So, and I think there are other music services that it's coming to as well.
Yeah.
What always comes about this time is Dave's Pro Tip of the Week, which we're going to skip this week because we have so much other great content to get to. We'll get right back to that next week.
You guys, it's going to be great.
It is. It was listed in here, but I am preempting it for other content, so be sure to listen next week. be anticipating a great pro tip of the week next week.
Yes.
And 5 takes. I've got 2 takes, 2 things that I saw that I think we probably need to talk about. Microsoft had an announcement, and they didn't quite get to the 80 products that Amazon did, but they did announce a lot of new Surface products. So they started out with the Surface tablet, which was kind of a hybrid tablet computer a couple years ago.
Right.
And now they've updated them. They've got several new devices. They're really great devices. Once you look at specs compared to Apple products, the pricing isn't that different.
They're beautifully built. They are crafted well. They work well. The only problem is they run Windows.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that minor fact.
That's the only thing. And Apple does not have the market on beautifully designed hardware.
Yeah.
But the software, it is tough to find something better than Mac software.
And one thing I really thought was interesting and very confusing throughout their different devices that they announced is they are fully embracing the X. Now that Apple's kind of moved away from the X on its products, we just have Mac OS now instead of Mac OS 10, which was an X, the iPhone 10s, which were an X, all that confusing. And they even have one that the Surface Pro X on Windows 10, like come on. Didn't we learn anything from...
They learned nothing from Apple.
No, but they've got some of the new Surface tablet devices, some new Surface laptop devices.
Yeah, and what I was intrigued by, they have the 2 smaller devices that are going to be out later. At the end of next year.
Yes.
And it was basically a foldable tablet and a foldable phone, but not the same way that Samsung does it. They do it with a hinge in the middle, which is the way that I thought all along these devices should be created.
With 2 separate screens that work very well together. Yeah, the Surface Duo and the Surface Neo, I think they are, but they announced them, but they don't come out till Christmas 2020. So,
but imagine, I would love this product if Apple had an iPhone. Let's say the standard iPhone 10s/11 Pro size. What is it? The 5.7 inch device. 2 of those with a hinge in the middle that fold like a book. If they made each side half as thick as a standard phone, the overall device would be about the same thickness, and you could just open it up. Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Yeah, so those are very interesting devices, and a lot of people are saying those products that aren't coming out for over a year really overshadowed all the other products. Besides the new Surface earbuds, did you see these things, Dave?
The circle with the touch surface
huge circle.
on it.
It's like somebody said it looks like if you had AirPods, but instead of the little white dangly thing, it was sticking an Apple Watch charger in your ear.
It does look like an Apple Watch
but you
charger.
can control presentations with it, and they're like $100 more than the AirPods.
So who's going to stand up there with their PowerPoint presentation, and when it's time to go to the next slide, they swipe their ear?
I don't.
That is
don't.
So awkward. But anyway, typical Microsoft. It's almost there, not quite there. But to reiterate, their hardware is beautiful.
Yep.
But their software, we'll see.
Yes,
we'll see.
Windows 10's gotten a lot better. I stand by that. But yeah, they've got some different versions. They're one of the models I forget because there's 7 different almost identical devices is running on a new ARM chip, which is similar to what the iPhones and iPads use. And there's rumors that Macs will move to those. So that's where this Windows... They've got, that's what it is. The new operating system is called Windows 10X.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the numerals 10 and then the letter X. It is convoluted, but they are great products. If you are a Windows person, if you need a great Windows computer, these are ones to look at, although I still think you're going to get a better deal with something. I really like HP's computers. That's what I recommend to people a lot. But
I will say, though, since I am not a PC guy or a Windows guy, if I had to choose, I would probably, or if I had to use a Windows machine, I would probably, with no question, get a Surface. Just because I like the look and feel. I like iPads. I like the thin and light. So that's probably what I would get. But you're right. There's better value out there with other manufacturers.
Yeah, and the other announcement this week was GoPro. They've got the version 8 models of their Hero cameras. There's one that is just kind of an upgraded new version of the Hero 7. with better image stabilization, bunch of new features, a built-in attachment thing. They've got some new accessories that are built for GoPro, and then the other one has some 360 capabilities.
Yeah, the Hero Max.
Yes. So they keep releasing new products, and they're really nice. I really want to check out the DJI Action Cam, though, which is their version of a GoPro. But I do not do a lot of action things, so I don't really need one of those.
Do they have just kind of a sit-around cam? Let's sit on the couch cam?
Yes. That's what my Osmo Pocket is for. And we've got a couple security privacy stories, because what would an episode be without those? There was a report that came out that over 500 schools were hit by ransomware in 2019. Now, we talked earlier this year about Sherwood schools. They had some issues. And you can imagine, much like city governments and all these other ones hit by ransomware, school districts, they're low budget. They don't have a lot of IT budget. Security's not a top priority. They've got a bunch of mismatched network stuff.
Just whatever. I keep thinking that there has to be a business opportunity, although schools would never pay for it, of a consultant to come in and say, can we just look to see what you're doing for security?
Oh, there is, but nobody will do it till it's too late.
Yeah.
Then you pay twice as much, 10 times as much after to get it fixed and do that same consultation. And then Words with Friends. We haven't talked about that for a while.
No, it's been a long while.
A hacker stole over 218 million Words with Friends user data. So all of the Zynga games, somebody was able to hack into their database and get a bunch of information, usernames, passwords. Now you're going, well, I don't use Words with Friends anymore. Great reminder that when you reuse passwords, if your Words with Friends password is the same as your email password, now somebody has your email password tied to your email. So that's why we like to bring up these stories, is to remember to use different passwords on every different service, which we'll get back to in a little bit.
Yeah, we need to remind everyone each episode to tech better. Basic security is one of them.
Yes. Okay, well, before we get into, we got a bunch of picks from you, the listeners. We've gone through a bunch of our picks and picked our picks of the picks. I have in my bag a couple gifts, Dave.
What?
Yes,
I
for
feel
the
so bad.
200th episode.
I think I've only, in this entire 200 episodes, purchased one gift for you, and that was the bell, the Pro Tip bell.
You did. For my birthday, you got me that hyper chiller.
Well, that's true, I guess.
Yes. But, Dave, this goes back just to show you how long that I have been a fan of technology and always been thinking of how to make things better through technology. When the first video iPod came out, I had an idea, because this video iPod, it had like a tiny 2-inch screen, but you could load videos onto it.
Yeah.
So I would torrent some video, convert it, throw
You're
it
like,
on my
I'm watching
iPod.
Rocky on this thing.
Yes. But I came up with the idea back then, and then I finally found it via meh.com, one of my previous picks of the week. And Dave, I've got one of these for you. This is the box to mine.
What?
This is the universal adjustable neck mount for your smartphone.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
Is this really happening right now?
This is really happening. Now, with our headsets and microphones, it might be tough, but what it is my whole idea, my original thinking for this was a harmonica holder.
Yeah.
Envision a harmonica holder that you put around your neck, and then you can get your device right in front of your face with those tiny screens. So this one is much larger. It's got some foam padding. It's very flexible. And then you can take your device, and it's got a little thing on the end so that you can put your device in there. So
I'm going to try to describe this to people. This is like a selfie stick that you stick around your neck.
Yes.
And it's for lounging around and watching shows on your device.
It would be very hard to control your device with it because it's very close to your face.
Very close, but okay.
So
go on.
Yeah. So it was a 2-for-1 deal on Meh. So I got 2 of these bad boys.
So I get to take one home and keep it for my very own. Now, my wife Valerie is going to love that I'm going to be sitting in bed next to her with this kind of wire type contraption around my neck.
Yes.
And I have my iPhone attached into the little bracket, just like a harmonica, just watching my show.
Yes.
I mean, what else am I going to do? I mean, I don't have to hold my phone. I could knit.
Yeah.
I could play with those ping pong paddle ball things.
Whatever you want. On the box, it's made by it's called the Aduro Lounger. on the box it says great for video tutorials. So it shows a woman doing her makeup, and she's probably watching a makeup tutorial on YouTube. It's good for vlogging. Long flights. This is a great one. If you're on a long flight, want to watch a movie. Working out when you're on the treadmill, you could have your phone right in your face and look like some sort of cyborg. And for cooking and vlogging.
What?
You talk about having your Echo devices in the kitchen. You could have your device right there and watch the cooking thing, have a recipe on there. Dave.
The potential is basically untapped. I'm thinking, what about in the shower?
Yeah.
Or you could watch a video with this thing around your neck in the shower.
Exactly.
You have to worry about dropping your phone. It's wrapped around your neck.
I know. I'm going to start using this. This is going to be my new phone carrier. Skip my shirt pocket.
Oh, boy.
Now, Dave.
Oh, thank you so much for this.
Speaking of endless uses, I have another much more practical gift, and I think it's going to be a huge benefit for our listeners.
Okay.
Dave, I have purchased us a small roll of NFC tags.
What?
Now, with the new iPhones and iOS, you can use shortcuts and automations, and you can use these little NFC tags to program different things.
Interesting.
So you could put one on your desk, or I've heard people saying they put one next to their bed, they tap their phone, it turns the brightness down low, it turns it on Do Not Disturb. Or you go in your car. I'm going to put one in my car and set it up so it'll lock my front door, so I get in the car, tap it on this little NFC tag.
I currently turn on all the lights in my office with my voice.
You just come in and tap it on your door, and it would turn on all the lights. It would turn on whatever you can with shortcuts and automation and everything.
This got my juices flowing here. My brain is a-thinking.
That's what I was hoping. And there's a lot of discussions on Reddit on how people are using them and everything. But I bought some of these, and I thought it would be really cool for us to try them out and then tell the listeners they're very cheap on Amazon.
Okay, so give me an idea of what these cost. Because what they look like is a roll of stickers, basically. Yes. They're on this wax paper, and they're little circular stickers. They kind of look like they have a coffee mug on them, but as I look closer, it's some very thin wire.
Yes, so there's some wire in there. So I believe I bought 30 of these things, and it was, Dave, what would you pay since you have zero idea these existed?
For 30 NFC tags, I would pay $10.
So I actually purchased 28 of them, and the deal I got was $10.88 for 28 of them.
So very close to what I said. Now, it's interesting that they did 28, not 30. Yeah. It seems odd, but to each their own.
Yes. Oh, it's 25 pieces plus 3 bonus is what it says on the Amazon listing.
Well, I'll take those bonus, and
so those will be a gift that keep on giving to our listeners.
And so I guess, how do they work really? Each one has a individual serial code that's assigned at the factory.
A unique
So is
code.
When are they going to run out of numbers?
I don't know if it's something like car keys where hopefully if there's enough numbers, you're not going to run into the same one.
Because they could have 6 billion, and the chances of you getting 2 of the same number are pretty slim. I see. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
so
sense.
then you'd probably figure that out. You'd go to set it up with the Shortcuts app on your phone and say, it'd start doing things around your house, and you go, okay, on to the next one.
Right.
And on to the next one. Wow. Our listeners.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you are so welcome. We got some picks from you guys, and we're going to share them with everybody. We wanted to hear from you people, what makes your technology life better?
It's time for you to get back to us, you moochers.
Yes.
We've been giving you free tech advice for 4 years, and so now you've told us what you use in your daily life that helps you tech better, and I cannot wait to hear all these.
So the first one comes from friend of the show, Todd. He was actually on one of our previous episodes. His pick was Affinity Designer, which we have talked about. Mm-hmm. And he said this program was a lifesaver as someone who really could only use freehand, which is a very old application, and always had trouble navigating and using Adobe Creative products for some reason. And they're very expensive. Fun fact, it's one of only 2 apps I've ever paid money for. That is not a surprising fact coming from Todd.
Todd's very frugal, we'll say frugal.
But the amount of things you can do with it is amazing. And considering what other apps cost, this one is an absolute steal at $50. So Affinity Designer, it's very similar to Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, or InDesign for doing layouts, and Todd does a lot of graphic design type stuff. So
you could create a logo or something like that.
So it's a great little one. And then
Thanks, Todd.
He had a second pick.
Okay.
He said, oh, and this little gizmo, which is super easy to use as it's simply plug and play through USB. I know some people are looking for something like this to digitize their old tapes, and this one works great, and you can find it cheaper than this Amazon link. He provided a link, but what it is a VHS or a RCA video and audio converter, and you plug it into USB on your Mac, and then you can convert your old VHS tapes, which I will give a plug for Todd's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Search Todd Workhoven on YouTube, and you'll find his channel where he makes these great notebooks we've talked about before. A real piece of work where he takes old VHS covers and other cassette covers and everything and makes these cool notebooks that I purchased some. It was a previous pick of the week. But now he's taking all these tapes and putting them up on YouTube of this really obscure video. It's great to put on the background and just be amazed at some random videos. So thank you very much, Todd, for your 2 picks.
And we should point out that work is spelled W-E-R-K, Workhoven. So if you're looking for Todd Workhoven, it's W-E-R-K-H-O-V-E-N.
Yes. And Wesley Rice, he came in with a couple picks as well. I believe these were in the Facebook group that he shared them. The first kind of 2 combined ones were the Hemingway app and Grammarly. Now, Grammarly I had as a pick of the week before. Both of these help with your writing. So the Hemingway app, you write in there and it gives you kind of a grade on your readability, how many words it is, and gives you a breakdown. And Grammarly is also, it does a lot more spell check and grammar, and they've got Chrome extensions. And I would not survive without Grammarly. It saves me so many times when I'm writing something in email or something on a web page or whatever it is. It gives you corrections there, and they've added a lot of features on improving your writing, like on an email in Gmail with the updated Grammarly, it'll actually tell you what the mood is of your writing. If it sounds professional, if it's lighthearted, so you can kind of get a tone of your writing.
Inbred,
Yes.
whatever.
Whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, when I first heard about the Hemingway app, I was like, oh man, what is this going to be? But I fired it up and typed in some stuff and went through the little tutorial, and it's really quite interesting.
Yes, and he also picked another one that we had on episode 82 was a pick of the week, Pixelmator.
Yeah, talk about cheap graphic design programs
Yes.
to give Adobe a run for their money. Pixelmator is a pixel art editing program it's very similar to Photoshop.
Yes, yeah, and he uses it multiple times a day, and that's what his job is doing a lot of photo and video stuff. For the photo, he uses Pixelmator and saves a lot of money over Photoshop. And they have a pro version, but he still loves, just because he knows it. He knows the regular one.
I'm in a very similar boat. I have the old standard regular version I bought when it was on sale a few years ago, and I do not have Adobe products installed on my computer. I just use that application. It works just fine.
We've got another pick from Rachel Birch. She has a pick. We've talked about some different keychains over the years and everything, but this one is the Night Eyes stainless steel key rack via the Container Store.
And I've seen similar products like this at Home Depot, Best Buy. You can find them. But yeah, this is a piece of metal with a kind of a carabiner clip on one end, and there's a slot where you can put some little baby carabiners on there, which you can then connect to your keys. So she uses them all the time. She can hook her key on her bag. If she goes to get her car worked on, she can take off just the automotive key and keep the rest of her keys. And so take a look at it. It's really neat, and they're super affordable. $10 for a pack of these things. It looks like it's got like 5 or 6 mini carabiners attached to this larger one. So
yes, it is very cool, and something that could have come in handy for me a couple of weeks ago when we were recording the episode and I had an issue with my keys.
Yes, maybe you need to get one of these.
Yes. So our friend down under, Elliot, who was on very early with our podcast, he came through with a couple. He said the Do Not Disturb that automatically comes on at 10 p.m. until 7 a.m., which you can customize, that I set up at the beginning of an auto update a few iterations back. It is especially handy when so many communiques happen at odd times when you've got a digital community that crosses the international date line, let alone time zones. So yes, being in Australia, but being a patriot, you have a lot of friends here, and I know that I've text messaged him at very odd times,
yeah.
so the do not disturb is very helpful for that.
I usually try to kind of calculate in my mind, or I open up the clock app, which is right on my phone that tells me what time it is. But sometimes I'm just like, I want to say this thing to Elliot, and I'll just send it. And it's kind of up to him to make sure that his text messages aren't going to go off in the middle of the night.
And it should be up to everybody. My biggest beef with do not disturb still is that you cannot change it depending on the day of the week. Monday through Friday, yes, I have a set time. On the weekends, when I DJ till wee hours of the night and sleep in a little bit longer, I would have to go in and manually set it separately off that schedule. That's the only frustrating thing. But if you do not have do not disturb set up on your phone, that's your fault if you get woken up. And if your vital contacts or whatever important contacts, if they call you repeatedly, it'll come through that. So you don't have to worry about that. But it is a very nice feature that was added to iOS, and Android has it as well.
Very good.
And then he also said, and AirPods, life-changing they are.
Is he a Yoda?
I think he might have been. He said life-changing they are, so I just figured that I would make, on the 200th episode, I would try an impression, my Yoda impression.
It was just fine.
Just fine, good.
Just fine.
I will not do any more for another 200 episodes. We also got some voicemails like we asked you guys for, and so I am going to play the first one of those now.
Hello, Notnerd. This is Mike Peterson. Congrats on 200 episodes. The pick that I'd like to share with you guys is a Logitech MX Master 2S wireless mouse. I work on a computer all day and wanted something better than the cheap generic mouse that I got at work. So I picked this mouse up about a year ago, and I've been thoroughly impressed. First off, it's got an ergonomic design which works well for my hand. It's got a nice weight to it. I know that some mice you can add weights and pull out weights. You can't do that. This just comes with the weight that it's at, but I like it. It's great. It's got great sensitivity, so I can move it all around the computer with basically not moving my hand at all, which is great for me. There's also programmable buttons on it. I don't really use those myself, but some people like them. The scroll wheel, you can unlock and it will scroll for days, which is nice if you're on one of those long websites or in a long spreadsheet or text document. And one of the best things about this mouse, in my opinion, is the battery life. I'm recharging this thing like once every other month, and that's with like 40 hours a week usage, which is impressive. Well, that's what I've got for you guys, and I look forward to the next 200 episodes. Peace.
Well, thank you, Mike. A high-end mouse. We don't think about that a lot. I mean, famously, the iMacs have come with one-button mouses for a long time. They've gotten better. There's the trackpads. But if you're using a mouse all day long at work, which he does...
And if you make money with your computer, which most of us do, buy something that's comfortable that you like to use. Yeah,
get something a little better that has the functions you want. The one I use at home is an old Microsoft mouse, but it's got some extra buttons on that you can program, and it makes a huge difference.
I use a trackpad here at work, and at home I have one of the Apple mice, just the ones that came with your iMac. It is not ergonomic. It's not great, but I don't use it a lot, so it's just there. But get what you like.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mike, for that, and thank you for listening. We're going to move on to one from Landon.
I'm Landon, and I have a mouse case for my new iPhone 11, and I just love it. It's practically invincible. The back of it's made of bamboo, and I just done dropped it so many times. So I was, up in this 52-story building, 52, and there's this man who was, walking down below, and I was waving at him, and he's like, yo, show me your mouse case. So I dropped it down to him, and it hit him right in the noggin. And, man, he went down like a bird in a windstorm. Man, ain't you ever seen nothing like that? Yeah, I got charged with 52 years. Ain't that fitting? But I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one.
Well, thank you, Landon, if that's your real name, for that pick. And it might have been a little hard to hear, but it is a mouse, which I believe is spelled Mamous, no E on the end. And they've got these iPhone cases. There's ones with bamboo on the back. They look really cool. They run on their website about $50, but if you're looking for something a little different on your case, I really love wood grain stuff, so I might even look at getting one of these. And if it falls and bumps you on the head, you're going to be okay. The phone's going to be okay. You're not going to be okay.
Yeah, they seem like really high quality iPhone and other cases. I don't think they're just exclusive iPhone, but they make a bunch of phone cases and they seem to be very durable and very attractive. So
yes, there's so many phone case manufacturers out there. It's so hard to know. I've seen videos on YouTube where guys have stacks of 50 iPhone cases, but find something you like and that's going to protect your phone a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next up is another friend of the show and my better half outside of the podcast, Chelsea.
Hi, this is Chelsea. I am Nate's wife. Wanted to say congratulations to you guys on your 200th episode. Great job. I enjoy listening every single week. And I have a pick. It is the Eufy RoboVac. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it is spelled EUFY. And if you know me at all, you know that I like to have a clean house, and it's kind of been an ongoing joke that Nate buys me vacuum cleaners for birthdays or Christmas or anniversaries, and it might seem like a boring gift, but I'm usually very excited about it. And for years I've been interested in getting a robotic vacuum, and all I can say now that I finally have one, which Nate got me for my birthday this year, is why didn't I get one sooner? It is awesome. You just have to kind of pick up anything little on the floor, make sure that it's not going to suck anything up, and let it go and do its job. And it's got lots of cool features. You can set it to clean at a certain time or to kind of clean in a certain area or whatever you need it to do. Isla loves it. Originally, she was a little afraid of it, but she has decided that it's fun because she can give her toys rides. And she has a new trick where she lets it drive between her legs. She puts them out like a bridge, and that's fun. And the only problem we've had with it is that it has sucked up our old dog's pee pads a couple of times, but it still seems to work pretty well even after that. And if you want details on the RoboVac that we got, Nate will have to provide those since he's the one that purchased it. And I assume that any robotic vacuum will probably work. But I highly recommend getting one of those, especially if you have little ones and don't have time to vacuum. Thanks for listening and enjoy the 200th episode. Bye.
Well, thanks, Chelsea. That is great. My family has, well, by my family, I mean me.
Yes.
I have oft wondered what it was like to have one of these, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Yeah.
But I think everyone in my household I think they'd be up for it. We don't have very large space downstairs. But the space that we do have, we have a cat and he sheds hair all the time. And if I could just come home to having the floor vacuumed every day, it would be a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And we don't do it. We don't do like scheduled when we're away from the house. We just do it when we're there. But it is so nice. And when people come over, we show it off. And every time you do it, it is picking up more and more stuff. It's got the little tray in there. You pull it out and it's like, how is that much stuff left in the carpet?
Like, where did that come from? So does your dog Rex ride around on it like I've seen cats do?
No, Rex is, he is terrified of it, but wants to get as close to it as possible.
Interesting. So he's curious, but terrified at the same time.
Yes.
It's kind of like watching horror movies.
Yes, that is how my dog functions. He is a very small Chihuahua, if you were not aware. But this is the Eufy Boost IQ. I did a bunch of research on it and found this one. Wirecutter had mentioned it. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, Wi-Fi and all this crazy stuff, but it's a good robot vacuum with enough features, and it's kind of the low end. You can spend whatever you want on these things.
Oh, yeah, you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
But this one has 4.5 stars on 6,800 ratings on Amazon. So, Dave, what would you pay for a Eufy robot vacuum?
Well, I was just going to ask, what did this thing cost? But now you're putting it in my court. I think this thing's going to be in the... I think it's going to be somewhere between $150 and $200.
Well, I think I got mine. It was a special deal, and then there's a little Amazon coupon for $180.
Okay.
It's currently $240 with that $20 coupon on there. But yeah, it is one of the lower end ones that's well rated and well reviewed other places as well. So it's a fun little device. And if you've thought, oh, that's for the rich, if you don't enjoy vacuuming or don't have time to vacuum all the time, man, this is...
Well, we bought a Shark.
Entertainment for your children as well.
Yeah, we bought a Shark vacuum cleaner a number of years ago to replace our old Eureka, I think we had. And it costs, I think it was like $230 or something like that. So it seems comparable to a standard vacuum cleaner that you'd buy at Target or something like that.
Yeah, so check those out. Thank you very much, Chelsea. And I've got another voice or another pick of the week here that we will listen to now. Isla, what's your favorite thing about the iPad? So that was my daughter Isla, and if you didn't understand, I said, what do you like about the iPad? And she said everything, which is her answer to almost all questions when I ask how preschool is, or what do you do at preschool today? Everything. So she does enjoy the iPad when she gets to use it. She actually calls it the tablet, but she plays some of the PBS games.
Which is funny because most people will call a Kindle Fire or a Google tablet or anything an iPad.
Yes.
So she kind of goes the opposite way.
Yeah, somehow at some point she thought that iPads were the packing peanuts that came in our Butcher Box meat subscription. She was thinking those were iPads. So she's 3. We'll cut her a little slack
this time.
And our last voicemail here is a very special one.
Hi, Nate and Dave. This is Tim Cook here, CEO of Apple. Yes, and this is what I sound like on the phone. I just wanted to drop you a line and congratulate you both on 200 episodes and let you know that I have always believed in you. I am so honored by the attention and praise that you give to our wonderful products that I want to send you a token of my appreciation. Nate, for your continued coverage and support of Apple, I am going to deposit $500 in your Apple Card account. All you have to do is leave a voicemail at 971-999-0270 and simply read me your card number, expiration date, PIN number, and security code, and I will see that it gets deposited immediately. Keep up the good work, fellas, and here's to 200 more episodes. Bye-bye now.
That was not Tim Cook.
Really?
It was
I gave him all the information
Tim
he asked
Apple.
for.
What? You did?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
We're in trouble.
We have to talk.
Yes. I will also, besides thanking Tim Cook, will thank Dylan Gentry of the Single File Pod.
That sounds a little more like Dylan.
Yes,
okay.
Which I have a very special episode with him of the Single File Pod that I will be recording soon, a number 1 hit song that everybody loves to death. I'll let you know when that is available. Well, Dave, it's time to go through our list. We went back through and toiled over every pick of the week that we've made, and we each chose our top 5 picks and also our bottom 3 picks because we've had some sour picks over the years.
Some stinkers. Yeah, this was hard because there's so many different picks, and I wish it were 20.
Yeah.
The top 20.
Oh, yeah.
And so some of these probably, if you ask me tomorrow, they might change. But yeah, let's get her done.
Yes. We'll stagger. Dave, why don't you give us your first one?
Okay, so this is the first one I thought about, without question. That is my KeySmart Pro with Tile. I've talked about the KeySmart a couple times. It's about a 4-inch device with 2 plastic pieces, you can get metal ones as well, that kind of bookend a set of keys. And so think of a switchblade key instead of a switchblade knife.
Yes.
Now, there's no mechanism or anything that flicks it out. You can fold your keys inside this little sandwich of a handle and then flip them out when you need to use them. And so I flip them inside this little handle, keep it in my pocket. It keeps my keys out of the way. For a long time, I've had this problem of all of my shorts and all of my pants would have holes at the bottom because my keys would stab at the bottom and then my change would fall through or whatever. Now with my KeySmart, all my keys are tucked up inside the handle. When I need to use them, they're there. And since I'm so extra, the KeySmart Pro with Tile has an integrated flashlight and a tile device so I can track it if I lose it with my phone.
Wow.
It's amazing. If you're in any type of industry where you have to carry a lot of keys around, this thing is a no-brainer.
Nice. Who would have thought we would have 2 keychains come up on our picks of the bicentennial episode?
Well, Rachel and I, maybe we need to rethink this thing and have automated locks everywhere.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, like your
my house,
what
which
is it? The
August door
August
lock.
yeah.
Yes, and I've been looking at options for my car as well because that would be nice to have less keys. But if we are not a key-free society, much like we are not a paperless society yet.
Right.
So keychains are a good thing. My first pick is one that I talked about a couple years ago, and I've been paying for it ever since.
In a good way, I hope.
Yes, yes, paying for the subscription ever since. It is the SetApp Mac app subscription. So what this is, it's kind of a Netflix of Mac apps. So if you have an Apple computer, you pay $10 a month, and I think they have a student pricing too, and you just get a slew of different apps. And there have been countless times where I go, man, I need an app to be able to convert some video. Hey, let's check SetApp. Oh, there it is. Oh, hey, I need a FTP client for websites. I'm going to check SetApp. Oh, there's something. BusyCal, I just installed that the other day because I've been working more on calendar and reminders and everything. There are so many apps in there where you're not having to pay every time, and I really think I use some of the apps every single week, and it is well worth the $10 a month.
There are a bunch of writing apps in there if you're into writing or if you just are sick of Word and Google Docs.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of productivity applications, utilities. One that I use more than anything is Clean My Mac.
Oh, yeah.
It's integrated there. I love that tool. It's safe. It's not one of these scammy programs that you download that promises to do all these things and doesn't. It's great. It will scan your hard drive. It'll find malware. It'll find large file sizes, duplicate files, uninstall programs. It's kind of like this great Swiss Army knife for your Mac that you can keep it up to date and clean and working very well. So that's just one app out of dozens.
I know. So it's almost like a curated store of apps that will pretty much do anything you need to. Photo stuff, anything. It might not be the best in the business, but some of them are. Some of them are very high rated.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you got at number 2?
Well, no pick of the millennium could go without picking one of my favorite all-time video games, and that is Minecraft. I started playing Minecraft probably over 10 years ago. When you and I worked at Dr. Bot, a coworker of ours introduced me to kind of the concept. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard about that. He's like, oh, I love this game. And so I spent $30, I think, purchased the game. That license has kept valid for all these years.
Wow.
And so that's for my Mac. But I have since come to purchase it on iOS. I purchased it on Xbox 360. I most recently purchased it on Nintendo Switch. So they've got their money out of me, I guess.
Yeah.
But man, I just play whenever I'm bored or I want something to do or I just want to relax and take a break from the world for a while. Minecraft is there for me. It's my virtual Lego world where I can go do anything I want. So Minecraft.
Yes. My second pick is 2 apps that we've talked about in several episodes, Stash and Acorns. Now, both of these apps are designed to help you save money. They've got some retirement features. They keep adding more and more features, but they are very simple to use. I would prefer the Stash app because I have every week, I think it's $10. I buy $10 in Apple stock. So over the last year or whatever it's been, it keeps adding up. So now I actually have a couple shares of Apple stock, which if you have to buy a whole share, that, a couple $100.
Right.
So being able to buy partial shares, there's all these different funds you can invest in.
And you get all the benefits with your partial shares. If there's a dividend distribution, let's say if you have one share, it's $3. Well, if you have a partial share, you get the proportional amount of that.
Yeah.
But you still get dividends and all the benefits of owning a full share of stock. And so it's really great. And I too would have to say, if I had to choose between the two, I am more of a Stash kind of guy, and I've kind of taken my money out of Acorns recently. I still have the account open. But Acorns, just a rule of thumb, if you're a person who just wants to turn it on and forget it, set it and forget it, Acorns is the one. Do it. The interface is beautiful. It's simple. If you're like, I want to pick and choose my stocks, I kind of want to learn about stocks, I want to kind of tweak a few things, then Stash is the way to go.
I would agree. And you can have auto deposits from your bank account. You can do roundups. So when you buy something at 7-Eleven for $2.50, it'll put 50 cents in.
Yeah.
So it's really, I did not save any money at all before I use these apps. And now I've got, I think, a couple $1,000s saved up in there. And it's really an easy, just simple, this is what I love about technology, and great entry-level way to be able to do some of these things that it used to be, you got to find some stockbroker on, downtown and go meet with them and give them all this money and they take all these fees. Now
No.
you can just do it in an app while you're sitting on the bus.
It costs you like $12 a year. And who is this app for? For everybody.
Yes.
The only people it's not for is someone who's like a stockbroker.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're doing. For everyone else, young people, old people, rich people, poor people, you can use Acorns and Stash.
Yeah. And we will have links in the show notes to everything we've talked about. But specifically for those, you get a little benefit. We get a little benefit if you use our links. You get like an extra $5-10 or something like that. So make sure to use those links and all of our links because most of them are affiliate. So we get a little extra. Dave, what's your next pick?
The next one is WiseCam. This is another no-brainer for me. Wise is a company that made, I know it was a few years ago, they came out with this, nothing was original about it. The camera for this, it's a home security camera.
Yes.
The camera for this thing is not proprietary. They bought it from somebody. The case is simple. The software is okay. But the thing is, this is a home security system with quite a few bells and whistles for $25.
Yeah.
You can't touch it anywhere else. Other systems you have to buy into the whole ecosystem. You have to get like a bridge, and then you got to get these cameras, and then you got to subscribe to this thing, and it's this complicated mess that can cost you hundreds of dollars a year. Well, for one purchase, you can have a Wise security cam. You can put an SD card in it to record local video, or you can just have it stream you live video and alerts to your phone. And they've developed this ecosystem, much like other home security manufacturers. There's now a smart plug that you can integrate into their software, smart light bulbs. There's a motion sensor. There's a, what do they call them? Like when you open the door or a window, those type of sensors. It's not a motion sensor. It's like a proximity sensor. Anyway, their ecosystem is growing. Their products are inexpensive. And I've been using their products in multiple places at work and at home, and they're rock solid. Nothing is broken. I've not treated them well. They just work. So they're great. So if you're looking for an inexpensive way to add a security system or other devices into your home environment, you cannot go wrong with WiseCam.
I agree. Well, my next pick is one backup is none backup. We coined that very early in the podcast. And my current recommendation to everyone, business person at home, for your computer for $60 a year or $110 for 2 years, you get unlimited backup for your computer. And I just had, this last week, my Windows kind of server computer, my second computer at home, there was a hard drive that just died. I can do a lot of
even
data.
The master.
Yes, I can do a lot of data recovery. I've seen this before. It was an older drive, 2 terabytes. It just died. I was able to go on Backblaze, find that drive in the list of them, pick the things I needed to back up that I didn't have elsewhere, download them all. They'll send you hard drives if you need to do that stuff, but for free I could download everything. And now I'm right back where I was before. And it's not if, it's when your data is going to go away, no matter what it is. But Backblaze, it
works. It just works.
And you just it's another set it and forget it. You pay $60 a year. Anytime your computer's connected to the internet, it's constantly, or you can schedule it, backing stuff up, and it just keeps everything in the cloud. And then, if a drive goes bad, you've got, I think, 30 days to download it all to another drive, and you're good to go. So that peace of mind for $60 a year.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
It's cheap, and you got everything you need. Heck, you could even invest in Stash, and when you get your first dividends and payments, you could take the money and go buy a subscription to Backblaze.
Oh, tying it all together.
Yeah. So my next thing is I work with a lot of different software, and one of my, what's the opposite of a superpower? Weakness, I guess?
Yes.
Is that I will start...
Your kryptonite.
Yeah. I'll start using one program. Oh, and then something shiny comes along, and so I'll migrate all my data over to this one and to this one. Well, to-do list apps, I'm notorious for...
Yes, you are.
Trying out
How many have
different
we
ones.
talked about over the years?
Hundreds. Google Keep, this and that, Apple Reminders, blah, blah, blah. There's hundreds of them. Well, I don't know, it was probably a year ago or so, from listening to various podcasts and reading about online and stuff, I came across Todoist, and Todoist seemed to have everything I wanted, everything I needed. And so I started using it. And for most people, I would say Todoist is a fantastic to-do list app. It integrates with all of your smart devices, your calendars. There's a free tier that you can use. There's a paid subscription tier you can use if you need more features or if you're using it for a business. But for a solid all-around to-do list app, it is fantastic. And I will say my runner-up right now is Microsoft To Do, just because it's new and I've been trying it. So,
oh, what?
Yeah,
A new one?
I know.
That's it. That's your pick. The newest To Do app.
Yeah,
that's
the
come
newest,
out.
whatever it is, the newest one that just came out.
Yeah.
So, but Todoist is great. I've used it, like I said, for about a year, and it works great. I love it.
Well, and I know it might have even been before we did Picks of the Week, or your very first one was the Getting Things Done method by David Allen. And so that's something that's very important to you, and finding a good solution to be able to keep track and get it out of your brain. The cognitive load that we have trying to remember everything just does not work. So that's something that I'm constantly trying to work on. Well, my next pick, it actually looks like I have not made it a pick of the week. We have talked about it probably more than any other service is LastPass. So I'm picking this one as a snub. I cannot get people to understand how easy it is to use a service like LastPass to manage all your passwords on all your devices. I think the free tier works for most people. They've got more tiers for teams, and we share passwords back and forth for Notnerd stuff.
Right.
It is just so key. Back to our security story. You can it'll generate whatever length. You could generate 30-character completely random passwords, and you store them in LastPass, and then you never have to worry about it. I can't get it through to people how easy this makes your life to use a password manager.
And it makes it so much secure, too. If these schools and hospitals and businesses would use LastPass, they wouldn't have to worry about these crypto lockers coming in, because their stuff would be locked down with super strong randomized passwords.
Oh, man. Dave, what's coming in at number 5?
Number 5 for me, 5 and final. Talking about Landon's iPhone case.
Yes.
I have an iPhone case of my own. I don't always use it, but I've used it more than any other case ever. And that's the Spigen Thin Fit iPhone case. I've had it for my 6S Plus. I've had it for my 10R, which I currently have. And I seem to think I had it for even an earlier device, or at least something very similar.
I know you've talked about it several times.
Yeah, I keep coming back to it. Every time I get a new iPhone, I'm like, okay, is Spigen or Spigen, however you say it?
Yes.
I say Spigen. Do they make a case for it? Or do they make the thin fit for this device? And if they don't, I usually wait to buy a case until I can find it. I've tried other cases. I keep coming back to this one. As the name implies, it's thin.
Yeah.
It fits nicely, as the name implies. But it's more like a minimalist case, but it's also robust enough to protect your phone if you drop it. So it's kind of the perfect match. And the bonus for this, it's not so much as important anymore with inductive wireless charging, but it's got a space in the back of the case on the inside to put your little metal plate if you use a magnetic mount on your desk or in the car.
Yeah.
It looks ugly to stick it on the back of your phone or the back of your case. This one's integrated to the inside.
That's a nice feature.
It doesn't add any bulk. It's phenomenal. So, and they're cheap too. They're like $12 or $18, something in that range.
Well, my 5th pick, my previous 4 picks have all been very practical things that, really make a difference in your life. And so is my 5th one, Candy Crush Saga. This is such a practical pick. Dave, I love this game, and hopefully I will have a link in the show notes to a video by the time this posts of the level 5,000.
What?
Which I am nearly on, level 5,000 of Candy Crush. Haven't paid a penny. I have gotten 5,000 levels of enjoyment out of this game.
Or robbed productivity, depending on how you look at it.
My entertainment fund.
Well, next week we'll talk about a video game that's similar to this that I'm going to turn you on to that might unseat.
I don't think it's going to get, unless I run out of levels on Candy Crush, but I've talked before, they've got the different version. The one that I actually picked as a not pick was the Candy Crush Friends. I think they really botched their chances on that one, but the Candy Crush Saga, the original, is the one I play all the time now. There's the soda, there's the jelly, but it's
Pets
just,
or something.
Yeah, it's just a simple game, but they keep adding in new features and challenges and giving you all these free bonuses. And I love Candy Crush. That one, I had to bring it up.
I think on your tombstone, we're going to put Nate parenthesis or Nate apostrophe Candy Crushin'.
Yes, and I do have candycrushin.com and a Facebook page, which for some reason gets a ton of new likes all the time.
But do you put any content there?
I haven't done much. That's why I want to do this 5,000th video and see if I can get things going again there. Become a celebrity, start live streaming my Candy Crush
on
gaming.
Twitch or whatever.
Well, we have made so many good picks. It was hard to narrow down that list. And also the other list that it was a little tough for me to narrow down was some of our bottom picks.
Yeah.
I mean, with 300 plus picks that we've made over the years, there's bound to be some that don't work out real well. So I will go first on this one.
Okay.
This is great in theory, but the quality was just crap, and I need to look for a better version. The Best Light Motion Activated Toilet Nightlight from Amazon. So this was a little light that clips on, and when you walk into the bathroom at night, when the lights are off, it just lights up the toilet bowl. Very helpful when you have a late night bathroom visit and don't want to turn on the lights and wake other people up. But I think I bought 2 or 3 of them, and we tried to get one replaced, and they didn't last very long. So when I was paying I probably paid $8 for these. I found the cheapest ones possible. But it was a novel idea, but I selected the wrong product for you all.
Well, Nate, I forgive you. I ended up not purchasing this product because I thought it was a stinker at the beginning. I picked this one not too long ago.
Yes.
It's the Fire TV Cube.
Yes.
I now have this in my home office hooked up to a small television set that I use basically to play Spotify and YouTube videos because this was my great hope. I thought, man, this is going to replace an Apple TV, an aging Apple TV. It's going to replace my Echo Dot that I have there. It's going to be the one device to rule them all. And that's great on paper, but in practicality, the thing is slow. Like you click the button, it doesn't go home. You wait 3 seconds and then it goes home.
Yeah.
I don't know if the processor is just slow in that thing or what. The games, it's got a lot of games on it, much like the Apple TV. What controller do you connect them to? Even Amazon doesn't have a controller that, I looked it up. I think they sold one at one time. You can't find it anywhere. Third-party controllers don't work. I've hooked up all kinds of controllers to it.
Yeah.
None of the buttons map correctly. So you're stuck to using just the remote control, which is a terrible experience. And so the farther you go down the onion and you peel it back, it just becomes a worse and worse experience. And it's just kind of a budget Apple TV, if you ask me. So it's now relegated to my desk as kind of a toy to play YouTube videos. And that's probably where it's going to stay. So if you purchased it based on my recommendation, I apologize.
Yes.
Now there is a new version, and maybe it's better, but
this is our apologies section.
Yeah.
Well, my second one is CISO.com. Now, this was a comedy streaming service that had a free trial. Then it was $4 a month. They had a lot of great content on there, stand-up, some different shows that were exclusively on CISO. And I picked this way back on episode 59.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, from January in 2017, so like almost 3 years ago. And it did not last long. So not really a bad pick, just bummed that it went away. And so if you got really into CISO, I am sorry that it went away and did not last. But I think it was related maybe to NBC. They kind of would try and as we talk about all the time, these streaming services are all over the place.
They come and go. Yeah, my next one is a game. And this one I remember distinctly. I could not find a good pick of the week. And so I'm like, I've been playing this Transformers Bumblebee iOS game. It's a terrible. I think
I tried it. I just deleted it after about 25 seconds.
There's like nothing special about it. It's just kind of an endless runner, dodge some stuff. The graphics were kind of cool, but it wore off quick.
Yeah.
And so I don't have it on any of my devices anymore. So
yeah, there was a couple other games that I picked that I thought about putting on there where it's just a horrible ad experience, or they're always wanting you to spend money, and it just, come on. There's enough good games out there with Apple's arcade service now. You've got options out there to play some great games like Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Well, my next pick is, this again was way back in 2017. I've got my MacBook Pro, and I had my power supply, but I wanted to get a second one so I could have one at my desk, one in my backpack. I think I have 3 of them now, just so that I have one where I need it and a backup. Well, I had tried out, and I think I confessed to this earlier, a third-party one from Amazon, a knockoff one. Don't do it. I think that was when my wife was on the show that I confessed that it could have possibly burned down our house.
Yeah.
I've had horrible audio issues, like when I'm DJing, that you get feedback because they're not shielded as well as the Apple ones.
Yeah.
So, as often is the case, knockoffs are not going to. And they were all had 1 million reviews on Amazon, but it was probably all fake.
Yeah, it's so tempting to get knockoff adapters and stuff for your and I was looking for one recently, a lightning to USB. I borrowed your thing, and they're like $40 at the Apple store, and it's just like, oh, it's $40. Surely there's something cheaper. And sure, there's 1 million options. But as I got to reading, it's like, oh, with the new iOS 13 update, these features stopped working. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to try it.
Yeah.
It's not worth my trouble. There's an Apple tax on purpose. It's because their products work, and if they don't work, they are warrantied so that they'll be replaced for free. So it's just worth paying for the real deal when you're dealing with Apple products, for sure.
When you're dealing with high amounts of electricity.
And voltage.
Yes.
Yeah. My last dud pick, I loved it. It was great before. Movie Pass.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the saga, the rise and fall of Movie Pass. And when I first got it, it was phenomenal. $10 a month for as many movies as you could drag yourself to go see. And then they started changing the policies, and they started changing the amount of movies you could see. And then they started changing their prices. And then it was just crazy. And by the end, it was not a good experience. It was not a good value. And then thankfully, other AMC's service that came out and Regal's movie service, which I'm using now, have come along and replaced it. So maybe the good thing about Movie Pass is that it's got the giant movie chains to get off their duffs and to provide something like this to their customers. But the product there at the end was just terrible. It would barely work. It was a nightmare. It was definitely a saga. They should write a movie about this thing.
Yes. Well, we have confessed that we do not always make the best picks. It happens. One thing I was thinking about getting to 200 episodes, what could we do? We have added to the website a new Picks of the Week store. The picks, I'm going to start with the ones from this episode, our top ones, not our bottom ones. It'll kind of be like an e-commerce store, but it'll link out to Amazon or wherever you can buy these products. But we'll have a little bit there so that you can go on there and just kind of look through, because most of the time you're in the car or you're doing something else. You can't sit there and shop for it right there, but to have a place where you can go look through, and we'll add more over time.
Well, and this is a great idea, because oftentimes what I do when I listen to my podcasts, I'll be listening or whatever, and so I'll scroll over to the show notes if they have them.
Yes.
And I'll do like a quick screenshot to put it in my photo roll. So hopefully maybe later I'll go back and look at it and see what they were talking about. And that's only if they have them, like I said. This is a great opportunity if you miss a couple shows and you're just like, oh, I want to look for gift ideas, or I got to get my new tech fix.
Yeah.
You can just go to this page and see kind of what we've been talking about and picking, and it's kind of there. It's an evergreen place to see all the products. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, so we will do that, and we want to thank you guys again for all of you that wrote in, called in with your picks, and we love helping people tech better, and we love sharing. We spend so much time talking about technology. We figured we could spend 30 to 60 minutes to 90 minutes a week talking about technology to help you guys be able to make better decisions about what technology you're buying, which services you're using, navigating this confusing world of technology. And we're going to keep doing it. We're not stopping at 200. Dave really wanted to stop at 200.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, that's enough. We've covered everything.
I committed to 200. Now it's on to something else.
Yeah. So he wanted to switch over to some other formatted Star Trek podcast. And I said, Dave, you know what? I think we've got something here. We're going to stick with it.
Right. And I begrudgingly said, yes, let's keep doing this.
Yes.
We still might do the Star Trek podcast, though.
Well,
Chelsea.
True.
Chelsea and I will
Yes, I would love to hear that. We're going to skip the Amazon purchase because we've talked about plenty of Amazon purchases this week, but you can go to amazon.notnerd.com and you get the affiliate link there that gives us a little kickback, helps us keep this show going, pay for some of our hosting and all of that stuff. But yeah, we've got more exciting stuff planned in the future. We're going to keep bringing you the technology news that you care about and keep bringing you tips and all this and keep bringing you picks of the week. There's got to be some left out there. And hopefully when we get to 400, we don't have to do 20 apology picks. So with that, get out there and tech better.
Notnerd Podcast, Episode 1, Define Notnerd.
Welcome to the Notnerd Podcast. This is our very first episode. I'm here with Dave Baylor.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Nate Heath. I wasn't going to let you talk this episode, but I guess we'll let you in.
Thank you.
The title of this episode is Define Notnerd. We are new. We're doing something we think is pretty cool, and we want to share it with you guys. So we're going to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. The who, what, when, where, and why of the Notnerd empire. First up, we're going to talk a little bit about the who. Dave Baylor, I've known you since the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's been
we
a while.
worked together. We've talked a lot of tech, and we're finally coming together for this. But why don't you tell people a little bit about your technology journey?
This is my journey. So gather around the fire, sit down, find a comfortable spot. We're going to share with you how this all began. So I've been involved with technology pretty much my entire life. Through the early 80s, definitely involved with all things Sony Walkman, if you can remember those. Couldn't wait until the CD revolution took hold and digital music was there, and I could get rid of this cassette tape nightmare that I'd been living in. Digital was the future, and I knew it. Our school had the fortune of getting a Macintosh SE in our computer science
And where was
department.
this?
This was in a very rural community in western Kansas, in a small
Yes.
town called Weskin. And we had, I had 8 kids in my high school graduating class. So even though I grew up in a little house on the prairie in the middle of nowhere, technology was something that I was attracted to at an early age. So throw some Commodore 64s in there, Amiga 500 computers. I was in love with technology from the beginning. I recall sitting in a room with an Amiga and a modem that I don't know where I got it from or what it cost. Dial-up. It may have been the high-tech 56K
Oh, wow.
modem.
Wow.
You could download some games if you were patient and different things. So that's where it began for me. Fast forward to community college. I attended Colby Community College. And
well known.
Yes,
Well known.
well-known Colby Community
Yes.
College in Kansas. And I started there studying computer science because I wanted to program video games.
Oh, yeah.
I found out quickly that computer science involved a lot of math and high-level understanding of algorithms and logic.
Yeah.
So I kind of abandoned my first year of university, the computer science dream, and went into mass communications at that point.
There you go.
So all the while, moving away from my fascination with Amiga computers and finding more and more about this new wonderful device called the Macintosh, and finally tipping over to what I considered the dark side at that point.
Yeah.
And got involved with the Mac platform and haven't looked back since.
And what year was that?
This was
Around?
probably 1993 or 4.
Wow.
I abandoned all computer platforms and embraced Macintosh and haven't looked back since. So I've been a Mac guy from that early time through the terrible years of no Steve Jobs at the helm. Steve Jobs came back, reinvented the personal computer and the iMac, iPod, iPhone. The rest is history. So I've been on board with the Macintosh platform for a long time. But gadgets and technology predate all of that and been very interested in tech for a long time.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it goes way back for me as well. I remember at my elementary school, I was actually part of the AV club, and I was certified to run the slide projector, which is about as advanced as it got. And I have a very fond memory of, we had 2 computers in the library that we could use on recess. And besides playing Oregon Trail,
Love that game.
they also had a printer. And I wouldn't even call it clip art. It was pre-clip art. There was all these different images, and they would let us print, I think, maybe one a day. And there was Visa and MasterCard logos.
Nice.
And for some reason, I thought that if I printed those, I was in the money. So I as many times as I could, I printed off the Visa and MasterCard logo. And but looking back, I had that same just kind of interest in technology. The high school that I got to go to actually was a technical high school, and I actually majored in architectural drafting in high school, and it was all on computers, and that was really fun. There was also my senior year, which was 95, we started hearing about this thing called the Information Superhighway.
Wow, it sounds amazing.
Yes, it was, except for nobody knew what it meant. It meant that the encyclopedias, you didn't have to open those anymore, and that's about all that we knew about it. And then got to college, I actually decided to major in elementary education, but I wanted to teach computers, so I got to do a lot of computer stuff, but that's where I found the internet. I was still all Windows. I actually worked in the IT department at school and remember having conversations with the Mac guy about how dumb Macs were.
Yeah.
And how there was no reason to have a Mac because PCs were awesome, and Windows 95, Windows 98
Oh, yeah.
were the only way to go. And then after college, just getting more and more into technology. And I think, knowing you, knowing me, we both really enjoy helping people use technology better.
Mm-hmm.
And first and foremost, ourselves using technology better. We've had many an hour of conversations about new websites and new apps, new games, a little bit of everything. Why don't you tell me just a little bit about your current technology setup? What do you use on a daily basis?
Well, not being a rich person, a lot of my stuff that I have is very retro. Like my daily driver phone is an iPhone 5S. I find it quite capable. It's got a great camera. It's the 4-inch size, so it fits in my pocket nicely.
Yes.
I've got a nice leather Apple case that's on it that feels very nice to the touch, and so it's sufficient. My hope one day is to have a larger format phone, probably a 6S Plus, but that's down the road. I also use an iPad mini 2nd generation with the Retina display. I held out for buying an iPad until I could get one with the Retina display. And it's getting a little long in the tooth, but it works fine, and it runs everything that I want it to. And I've got a nice clam case on it so that I can use it in laptop mode and get productivity-type tasks completed. For computer, I've got behind us here, a nice iMac. I think it's got the Core i5 in it, 27-inch. It's a nice machine.
Big screen.
Nice big screen. Do video editing on that, and the kids in the family. I do not understand it, but they put the browser window as large as the window can go, and they have one thing going on the screen with much white space on the right side and the left side, and the content in the middle.
Not quite the multitasking.
No,
as a technology professional like you or I.
Right. It's very monotasking.
Yes.
And that's about it. I pretty much spend most of my time on my iOS devices unless I'm doing Photoshop or Illustrator type programs. for my daytime job, I do a lot of web editing, and the iOS devices are capable to a certain degree, but doing drag and drop and moving things around and updating pages, it's a lot more effective through a standard web browser with a mouse and a keyboard. So web editing, I use a computer for, and video and audio editing. But I would say most of the time I get away with my iPad and my iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you use these days?
Well, and I've had iPads, and as we've discussed, it just didn't work for me. I currently have the iPhone 6S. That is one of my annual splurges, is getting the new iPhone each year. I've had all except for one, I believe. And my wife is kind enough to take my hand-me-downs, and then we sell the older ones. But
it works out nicely.
It does. It works out very nicely because she definitely does not have the same interest for technology that I do. But I spend the vast majority of my time on my 15-inch MacBook Pro. Mm-hmm. I love my iPhone. I also have the Apple Watch, but my laptop, like you were saying, it's just easier to do a lot of things, and for me, it works. And I really enjoy that. As you can probably figure out by this point, we're both pretty big into the Apple sphere. I think they make great products. It works great together, and they're really innovative. And I think although the big complaint is they are spendier, which is why you're a little more vintage.
Right. Yes. But the vintage products work just fine, and they accomplish stuff.
Yeah.
And a point I'd like to make is that many of the things that we do online and offline that involve technology really are platform agnostic. I can edit a web page using a Linux computer, a Windows computer, a Macintosh. I can do it on my iPad. I could do it on my Nexus phone. I could do it on an Android tablet. Many of the things that we do, it really doesn't matter what platform we're using. It comes down to preference and reliability, and also, there's some differences in usability and user interface that you and I might prefer the Mac platform. But really, it's to use that term again, platform agnostic is where the world is at this point. You can use pretty much any device, any platform to accomplish anything that you want to. It comes down to budget. It comes down to user interface and usability and experience, really. And most importantly, for those new to technology, it's important to get a piece of technology that is congruent with the people who are around you.
Yeah.
So if your family members all have Samsung devices and they run Android platform, that's probably
get rid of them.
No.
Oh.
No, I was going to say that's the device you should get for yourself.
Yes.
Because when you're asking cousin Billy or Aunt Donna, hey, I need to know how to do something, they're going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's, a lot of people right now are probably saying, well, I don't use Apple stuff, so why do I care? Well, in future episodes, we're going to talk, both of us use a lot of Google products.
Absolutely.
Online, that stuff that works cross-platform. I use a lot of Windows machines in my work, which I guess we should talk just briefly about what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Besides budding podcast empire that we have going here.
This is the big moneymaker.
This is the big moneymaker, episode 1 of a podcast. I work, I do a little bit of everything.
You're a Renaissance man.
I am a Renaissance man. I do it all as long as it's Renaissance technology. I work contract work doing IT stuff for a managed service provider, which is when your company's not big enough to have its own IT guy, we kind of service as that. I also do IT work and website work and a little bit of everything to do with computers again on the side. And then I'm also a DJ. I DJ at a bar weekly and then do weddings and different events throughout the year. So I am very fortunate that I get to do a lot of things dealing with technology and a lot of things that I really enjoy doing. How about you, Dave?
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear that you use technology to work for you. You don't work for technology.
Exactly.
It helps you to get your job done. I work for a local church. It's a larger church, and I am in the marketing and communications department. I help with the development and administration of our website, our our services are streamed online and then presented on our website. So I help manage all the content there. In addition to that, I work with our First Impressions department and helping our guests feel welcome each Sunday, and work with volunteers and develop strategies in those areas, create documents and do training, those type of things. And on the side, like you, I have a multifaceted background. I have a small business that does in-home consulting for people who have questions regarding how to do things on their computer. How do I turn my computer on? How do I print something? My printer doesn't work. Can you come fix it? So a small consulting firm that I do. And that's about it. Of course, I help scores of family members and friends with IT needs. But now it's time to get serious about it and help people on a larger scale. So that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah. And speaking of making money, in a normal podcast, this is probably about the spot where they'd take a break and talk about an advertiser.
That's right.
And being episode number 1, we don't have any advertisers yet for some odd reason. So the biggest way that you can help this podcast get going to the point where we have advertisers is to subscribe to the podcast. That's one of the great things about podcasts. Coming out every week, there's a new episode. I don't want to have to remember to go to some website, download the audio file, go to YouTube or watch it. I want it to come to me. So I have my podcast app on my phone. They automatically download on Wi-Fi, and then it's just sitting there. If I don't want to listen to that episode, I delete it. If I do want to listen to it, I listen to it.
Right.
And so that's what we want to encourage you guys to do. Give us a shot. We're going to have some great stuff coming up on future episodes. Go to iTunes, go to the podcast app, go to whichever way that you listen to podcasts, hit subscribe. And then the other great thing to do for us is leave us a rating. We would love a 5-star rating.
Sure.
Might be a little early to garner the full 5 stars from you.
If you're tentative, 3 or 4 stars.
3 or 4 stars. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. We want to make this better, and the only way we can do that is feedback. So, subscribe and review. That's one of the best ways you can help support us right now as we're getting started with the Notnerd podcast. Well, this next little segment we're going to do here, we're going to kind of combine the what, when, and where of our podcast, the Notnerd podcast. Our goal is to do a weekly podcast. Mm-hmm. We want to keep it pretty short. Timing, we don't have all the when it's going to come out. If you subscribe, like we talk about, it'll just show up in your podcast app. The where, we're just outside of Portland, physically. I live in Tualatin. Dave lives in Sherwood, suburb south of Portland, Oregon, which is a hotbed for technology. It's the Silicon Forest.
The Silicon Forest, right here. We've got Intel. We've got Nike, which is doing a lot in the digital space with their products. We've got Xerox.
Yeah, Xerox, down the road.
Yeah, we've got Minter Graphics.
Oh, yeah.
In Wilsonville.
Yeah, applied for a job there once.
Yeah. I actually worked there through a temp agency in the legal department. So if you need to know some things about that, I have experience. So technology is all around us. And so it's a great place for us to be, because not only can we live and touch the technology that we have, those around us are involved in jobs where technology is a major part of what they do.
Yeah. And as far as the virtual where, we do have a website, notnerd.com. We're going to be very active on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you might be on the interwebs.
Yeah, we want to find you and connect.
Yeah, and we really encourage you to do that. Again, our goal with this is to share information that's helpful to you in the technology realm. And so that's kind of the what, when, and where. It's going to happen weekly. You can find us online, and we're in the great Northwest, the Pacific Northwest of the United States of America. Right?
Last time I checked.
Last time I checked. Yes, we have not washed away yet. Okay, so I'm just going to take it's just been a little bit, but I'm going to take another quick break here. Again, if we had an advertiser, we'd do that, but we don't. So one way that you can support us financially, of course, it costs money to get these episodes every week. It costs money for our equipment and costs money to live. We have a support page on our website. You go there, you click on the support page, and there's an Amazon link, as well as some other links there that are going to be up there. But the Amazon link, you shop on Amazon, we shop on Amazon.
All the time.
It just makes sense. Amazon Prime is a life changer. Get everything 2 days with free shipping.
It's amazing.
All kinds of, we'll probably do a whole episode on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to that link, you click on it, and then you do your Amazon shopping, Amazon actually kicks back a couple pennies on every dollar to us. And that helps us out.
Pennies add up.
Pennies
really
do add up. I always turn in my pennies. My wife's very good about rolling all of the pennies that we have, and we take them to the bank. And that's actually interesting.
Yeah. That sounds like a sport that I want to get involved with.
Interestingly enough, my first iPhone, the very first iPhone that I bought on the very first day that it was released, was very largely funded by my penny collection.
Wow.
I had over $300 in change, and I said, I'm going to use that to pay for my iPhone. My wife said, that's just your change. That's not going to add up to anything, and it got me over halfway there to buying that first iPhone. So thank you, pennies.
Yes.
And thank you, Amazon.
Every penny counts.
Every penny counts. So if you shop on Amazon, please go click on that link and then bookmark that link. And then whenever you're going to shop on Amazon, use that link.
It costs you nothing.
No, it does not. It costs you nothing. You just shop as normal. They don't add on 4 extra cents for every dollar to give to us. They just take it off the normal great prices at Amazon and send it to us.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Very simple. So the last segment here is the why of Notnerd. And this is kind of the bigger, maybe should have led with this. Hopefully you're still listening. You've made it this far into the episode.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. I actually was thinking about that we need to put something special in the end of each episode to see if our wives actually listen to
that's a good point.
We can talk about their birthday presents or where we're going to hide some money that they can have if they listen all the way through the episode.
That's a good point. Or do it like a scavenger hunt on week 1. There's this clue and then this. Yeah.
Yes.
Drink your Ovaltine is what it's going to say at the end.
Exactly. So the why, and this kind of goes a little bit back to the when, is we have been talking about doing this for over a year now.
Yeah. I think in our minds we conceived of doing this type of thing separately years ago.
Yeah.
And then we finally, since we're not smart men, we finally decided, hey, we should do this together. And then it wouldn't be as hard.
But wait, we live 10 minutes apart from each other. We could never meet up.
How are we going to make this happen?
Yes.
So thank goodness for technology and the internet, or this would never happen.
And when I was putting together some of our notes over the past year that we've talked about, I was scrolling through our list of domain names when we were looking what we wanted to call this creation.
That was half of the problem.
Yes.
Right.
Before we started this, I have a website called Layphone where I was talking about iPhone kind of tips and tricks and reviews and that kind of stuff. And Dave, you had a website.
Yeah, I wanted to develop the iFacionado moniker, and with limited success.
Yeah, and myself as well. I get some good response and put some good information, but just wasn't consistent enough with it. So we started talking, and of course, we both started talking about, well, Apple. What do we want to do about Apple? And then we started thinking bigger picture. And we wanted something that could be more generic than that, because it's not just Apple. We use all kinds of different technology.
Technology evolves and moves and changes, and it's not about one particular company.
No, it's not. I use several companies every day. And so that's why we went through. We should do an episode where we just read through all those different domain names. Some of them very inappropriate, some of them very awkward.
And we could probably do an episode on how many domain names I currently own that are sitting in my bucket not being used.
Shh, this is the part we don't want the wives to hear.
Yeah, they're completely free.
Yeah, the domain budget. But anyways, we came up with Notnerd, and the idea is that we wanted something where we can talk about technology, but we want it aimed at the general public. I listen to a ton of tech podcasts. I read a ton of tech news, and it's too in-depth for me, and that's my passion.
Yeah.
Technology is really my passion, but it's just too much, and there's way too many different stories. So what we want to do is just provide the information that's practical for day-to-day use.
Yeah. You don't have to be a nerd to enjoy and use and understand technology. And we want to break down the barriers, and we want to provide a platform where normal, everyday people can connect with technology in a way that makes sense for them.
Yeah, and we've thrown around a couple taglines, and one of them is putting a not nerd filter on nerdy things, and the other one is nerdy things for not nerd people. And, we're trying to develop an experience for everybody. And it's stuff that I use too. I don't need to know about patent lawsuits. Mm-hmm. I don't need to know about rumors or how things are programmed. That's always been one of my big things about the type of nerd that I am, is I want to use the technology. Yeah. I don't want to build the computer. I want to use the computer to make my life better. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's one of the things that we really want to focus on, is providing information, concise information about what you should be doing to make your life a little better through technology.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier, and one of the things I've said on multiple occasions, it's a desire of my heart to connect people with technology in a way where they don't have to be a slave to it. It can be a tool for them.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about educating people on how technology can enhance their lives.
Yes.
And I talk with parents and grandparents, and they're trying to figure out, well, my kid or my grandkid has this thing, and I want to be able to, what's this FaceTime thing they want to do all the time?
Yeah.
And so that the technology is there to serve us.
Yeah.
And it only takes just a little bit of understanding to completely tear down the walls and open up doors for people to enjoy technology the way that it was meant to be used.
Well, and another thing that my wife can attest to as I'm yelling at the television, watching the news, is there's so much misinformation out there. You watch your local news and they've got some story about how, iPhones are killing people, or, just this stuff that, and you see it on Facebook all day long. Well, Facebook's trying to do this, Facebook's trying to do that. And I just wish I had a voice to help people kind of be the Snopes. And if you don't know the website Snopes, go there before you post any links about stories on Facebook.
SNOPES.com, Snopes.
They do the research to find out what is actually factual. If something is true, if something's not true. Trust me, Mark Zuckerberg is not going to give you any money if you post something on Facebook.
Bill Gates will not donate $1 million to the charity of your choice if you click a link.
Exactly. And there's just so much bad information out there. So we want to provide you guys with good information through the website, doing posts on a regular basis when news does come out, when we find something good, when we find a deal, find a great deal on something.
I love pass along deals to people.
Yes.
Why overpay for stuff?
No, and I spend a lot of money on technology, but I am also very frugal on what I spend and making sure that I'm getting a good deal. And there are good deals out there, and it just frustrates me when people overpay for stuff on technology. And just, again, it goes back to they're not getting what they need from the technology that they're spending their hard-earned money on, because we have a limited amount of money, and we have a limited amount of time. I think we'll probably do a series of episodes just on time and time management and how you can use technology to improve your time.
Absolutely.
There's just a ton of topics out there. Home automation is starting to really take off. That's something that I've seen and dealt with that can really just make life simpler, or you can get the wrong thing and it makes life more difficult.
Right. Our digital lifestyles in finding metrics of ways to manage our health and our fitness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fitbit,
That's everywhere.
Misfit, all this what are they, the quantified self.
Quantified self.
Yes.
That's the big tech.
That was the term I was looking for.
Yeah, we'll try to use as many big words of the trending topics.
Well, let's use them and let's explain what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. Breaking that stuff down of you hear these big things that people are talking about and they're kind of the buzzwords.
Yeah.
And there just seems to be more and more of them. But it's like, what's the reality? What's your day-to-day reality for these big technology advancements and the new stuff that's coming out, whether it's, drones or whether it's, there's so much technology out there. And that's, again, why we wanted to go more generic than just Apple. We will end up talking about Apple stuff a lot.
We love Apple.
They are one of the biggest companies in the world. They're
$600 billion.
Yeah, that's money.
That's a little bit more than I have.
Yeah, and really, there is a humongous industry. I was just listening to another podcast. You'll hear me say that a lot.
We do our homework. We listen to many podcasts, and we read lots of tech sites.
Yes.
So you don't have to.
Exactly. Yeah, we go through it so you don't have to and just give you the good stuff. But they were talking about how many jobs Apple has created in the United States. There's a lot of talk about tax evasion and this and that. But the app economy, there's how many apps are out there?
Millions
and millions of apps that are created, and people are making money off those. Not everybody, but people are.
There are some people who've created apps and have been overnight successes. People could quit their jobs, and that's they've created a small business based on their application.
Yeah. So the Apple effect, the accessories. Did you ever buy a case for your home phone before you had an iPhone? I didn't have. There were the see-through ones with the lights, but just the whole industry of technology and where it's come since Apple's really come on. With the iMac was the first really big consumer product. Those colored iMacs. That was my first Mac.
I had the purple. Go K-State.
I had the lime green. I'm not sure why, but I still have it at home. And then 2001, the iPod, which was huge.
Yeah.
That really changed music. You were talking about music earlier. Obviously, as a DJ, music's very important to me. But and we'll probably spend plenty of episodes talking about Apple stuff. But we really want to provide something that's valuable to you, where you can walk away saying, "I understand technology better. My life's a little bit better because I can do this, I can do that." There's so many things, even on our phones, that we don't even know. Dave was just showing me something before we started recording that I had no idea I could do on my phone. So there's all those tips. So we really encourage you. Please subscribe. Please keep listening. This has been the very first episode where we've just been talking about ourselves and about the website. But we're really going to get into helping you use and experience technology better. Anything else from you, Dave?
That's all I've got. You can find us, as you said, online. My Twitter handle is DavyB, DAVYB. Notnerd.com.
Notnerd.com.
Eventually, you can find us on Facebook. What's your netback on Twitter, right?
Netback on Twitter.
NETBACK.
Yep.
On Twitter. So send us a direct message, connect with us there, or head to the website, and we'd be happy to answer questions or take any feedback into topics that you are interested in learning more about.
Yes, your questions, your topics.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to hear, because we can talk to each other about technology all day, but we want to know what you want to hear. So
we have the answers, and we want to get them to you.
Yes. Well, this has been episode 1 of many, many episodes to come. We're very excited about the Notnerd podcast, notnerd.com. We hope you are too, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.